Actually made a whole short about Devil Dinosaur. Your Minecraft house is going to be a walrus. Oh, that's a good choice. I quite like walruses. Okay, we're currently on bag 11. There's at least 24. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how many specifically there's going to be. So I think it's the leg time, right? I think so, yeah. At least, yeah, that certainly looks like a leg. Like, I think that's what we're currently working on at the moment. I know you guys couldn't see that, but yeah, it's fine. Currently in the middle of decorating my room to overtly show my love for paleontology, and the background of many of your videos is my inspiration. I love your collection of models. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you do. I quite like it too. It's something that's kind of been built up for the last couple years, really. I'm kind of late to the game when it comes to collecting paleontology related things. Okay, what do we have here? Am I excited for the Cyberzoic Carnotaurus? Oh yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait for those figures in general. Let's see. This, like that. This. Am I going to make a video about Naga Titan? I'm not too sure yet, honestly. It's been extremely busy on my end. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm going to be taking a trip next week. I'm leaving this Friday. So I'm going to be gone for several days, like about closer to 9 days, really. So I'm not too sure if I'll have time to make videos on some of the new things, unfortunately. I'm going to try my best, though. Knowing my luck, there's going to be some pretty significant discoveries and developments that occur while I'm on this trip. What are my thoughts on the dinosaur-themed devil fruits from One Piece? I'm not familiar. Unfortunately, I never watched One Piece, so I'm not a part of the cool kids club. We need a blue one. There we go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're just building the leg right now. I'd like to get through at least like 5 bags today, but I'm not too sure. That's so real. I feel like whenever I go out and do things, a bunch of new paleontology news comes out. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it all happens. It's either going to be that or maybe like a new documentary's announced or something, you know? So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe me taking a trip is going to give you guys an announcement or something. I want the PNSO articulated T-Rex. Oh, he's pretty cool. It's a cool figure. I really quite like it, you know? It's recommended. You love Andrewsarchus? Me too. It's a cool animal. It's a shame that we don't know more about it, though. It's mainly just known from its skull. And while skulls are really cool, it's always really cool to have even that much of an animal. It'd be nice to have a little bit more post-cranial material, which is essentially like the rest of the skeleton, but I'm sure that most of you are familiar. Okay. We are making our progress. When will I retire? No idea. Where in the heck am I going to put this thing when I finish it? Yeah, I have no idea. That is a solid question and one that I don't have a good answer for. Because what's even worse is that I also have some like pretty big dinosaur skulls, like some replicas that will be arriving shortly. Like I bought one from BioBuilds, a T-Rex skull. And so that's going to be absolutely massive. I have no idea where I'm going to put that. And as a result, I don't know where I'm going to put things like this, because this is a pretty big Lego set. You know, it's on the larger side. Okay, this needs to go in a better spot. These instructions. Where can I put them? That makes sense. Oh no. That was the worst thing that could have happened. I don't think we lost any though, so I think we're good. Do I have any meteorites? I do not, unfortunately. You love these streams? Appreciate it. I do too. I recently saw the Tristan the Tyrannosaurus with my own eyes. Even though it's not the biggest one, it still amazed me. If I saw Scotty, I'd probably be left speechless. It's really quite special to be like face to face with a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull. I myself, I'm trying to make it focus again. I really like seeing T-Rex skulls on like the ground level, like where you can just walk up to them. Like, yeah, you can get a good idea of the scale when it's like the rest of the skeleton with that, and you know it's all up there. But then the problem is that of course you have to look up to see it, and so then the scale of the skull kind of gets skewed a little bit. That's a lot of ska words. Whereas if the skull is on the ground, then you get a little bit of a better idea of how big that head was. Like the Morrison Museum has a replica of Stan, the T-Rex. Since I volunteer there a lot, I'm like right next to Stan all the time, and it's just amazing. Like, he wasn't even fully grown, Stan, and he is still absolutely massive. So it really puts into perspective how large those animals were when they were still stomping around. And I love it. You know, it's just really, really cool. I love dinosaur skulls. I love skulls in general. They're just really like, extinct animal skulls. It's really cool to see that little piece of natural history, essentially. It's like, wow, something like that actually existed. That is insane. Which is why paleontology is so amazing. T-Rex has some serious bone-crushing head. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, again, it's wild how big that animal was. Can you talk about dinosaurs in, what was that? 10 Rexy, thank you so much for the gift, dude. High five for 100 joules. I've never seen that before. That's interesting. And can you talk about dinosaurs in the United States video? Can you talk about dinosaurs in the United States video when you talk about a state dinosaur, just a common dinosaur for each of the 50 states? I could do that. I know that's something that a lot of people have done before, and I typically don't try to, do videos that have been done by other folks, even though it's kind of inevitable with how much content's being made. But it's always a fascinating topic, especially considering the fact that there's some states that have 0 dinosaurs. How's it going? It's going good. It's going good. Did you know there's a new genus or species of Allosaurus? I did not know that. Is that like a recent publication or something that I missed? Oh, I don't have my keyboard over here. No, I don't know that, but I'm going to have to check that out. Which dino is my state dino? We don't have a state dinosaur. We have, not officially, but our state fossil is Stegosaurus. The reason why I say that is because some states have like a state dinosaur and a state fossil. Like they're two separate things. Utah, for example, their state fossil is Allosaurus, but their state dinosaur is Utah Raptor. Go figure, right? We don't have like a state dinosaur officially. We just have the state fossil, and that's just simply Stegosaurus. So I guess it could act as both, really, but we don't have a category for that. My state is Colorado. Have you heard of what scientists think the T-Rex sounds like? It sounds silly AF. We don't know what T-Rex sounded like. The video that you see is just somebody who put together these interesting noises. Credit where it's due, though. What they reconstructed with that audio is better than, say, like the Jurassic Park roars, because, Jurassic Park roars, they sounded like extremely mammalian roars, and given what we know about dinosaur vocalization right now, it seems like it'd be a little bit more on par with maybe like ratites, the way that they boom in their throats, or crocodilians, and the fact that they force air through their esophagus to create these sort of bellows and belches and things like that. But we don't know the exact way that it sounded. That's all purely speculation. And if you see a video that says how T-Rex actually sounded, that's not correct, because we don't know what T-Rex sounded like. For all we know, there could still be a T-Rex syrinx to be found, which would imply that they had more complex vocalization than we previously thought. That is a bit unlikely given how many different T-Rex specimens have been found, but it's certainly not impossible. I mean, we've only ever found 2 dinosaur larynxes, and those come from 2 different dinosaurs known as Pinacosaurus and Pulausaurus, never from T-Rex or anything like that. And even at that, they don't even offer a lot of insight about what those animals sounded like. So there's still a lot to learn about dinosaur vocalization. So all we can really do is go off of what's most likely, and sounds like crocodiles or ratites are probably the most likely right now. If I'm always with Stan the T-Rex, then does that mean you and Stan are like best friends? Oh, absolutely. Stan and I are the best of friends ever. I absolutely love Stan. What's wild is that there's been a lot of Stan replicas made throughout the years, rightfully so, because Stan is actually like one of the most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex skulls out there, and he offers a lot of really good insight about the way that T-Rex lived, and potentially how it died, and things like that. Stan in particular is absolutely covered in pathologies, which are like these like injuries in his skull. A lot of them are likely bite marks from other tyrannosaurs, and some of them might even be parasitic infections, which is really, really interesting. It's just so cool. You can see all of those pathologies on the skull. Like I said, I'm always by Stan, and I always incorporate the pathologies into my tour when I'm teaching people about Stan, and I always point out all of those little holes that you can see in his jaw. It's just such a cool little thing that you could point out. What's your opinion on Ozroraptor? I've never heard of Ozroraptor, so I don't have an opinion, unfortunately. You have a real Velociraptor skull? That's awesome. I'm jealous about that, that's for sure. Do we have a dinosaur fossil from the extinction event? I believe we found a couple that are thought to have been extremely close to the KPG boundary, like that point in time when the dinosaurs went extinct. But I'm not too sure where we stand with those. So I can't really say much about that. Opinion on Poniotolus. I've never heard of that fella either. Bringing me all kinds of creatures that I'm unfamiliar with, rather. Yo Dino Guy, opinion on Jeffy's pet dinosaur. I'm not familiar with that either. I am out of the know with a lot of these things. What do I think about old dinosaur reconstructions? Oh, they're always fun to look back at. They're absolutely not something to be scoffed at or whatever, because that was simply just the scientific understanding. A lot of times when people try to discredit paleontology, they bring up the fact that, oh, we know nothing about them because, like, look at this compared to like all the way like 200 years ago or 100 years ago, and compared to how we look at it now, and it's completely different. That's exactly how science works, I don't know what to tell you. Your Minecraft house went boom by a creeper. Oh, that's unfortunate. Opinion on Archelon. Oh, Archelon's really cool. Archelon's a very cool turtle. It's a huge turtle, that's for sure. It's the size of a small car, which is absolutely massive. And its carapace was likely pretty similar to that of a leatherback sea turtle, which I think is interesting. You've never heard of Ozroraptor? I'm pretty sure it is only known from one leg bone. Yeah, I'm not familiar. It is quite impossible for me to know every single extinct animal to ever exist. I mean, with dinosaurs alone, we know of over 1,000 species. So it's kind of difficult. What's the most misunderstood dinosaur? Well, if we're talking about like um, you know, like misconceptions that are surrounding specific dinosaurs, I think that two candidates would go to Oviraptor and Majungasaurus, at least from the general public. Uh, the Oviraptor was always thought to be an egg thief. We now know that's not really too accurate. And Majungasaurus, most of the public thinks that they were primarily cannibalistic, which is kind of flawed thinking. Bahatosaurus. Bahatosaurus belongs to a group of sauropods known as the Dicraeosaurids. Dicraeosaurids are my favorite sauropods out there because they just feel like they're contradictory, if that makes sense. They are relatively small sauropods, still huge, but small by sauropod standards, and they had relatively short necks. So Bahatosaurus, like I said, is one of those. Bahatosaurus is also quite interesting because of its neural spines on the neck that kind of curve forwards, which is like the opposite of something like a Margosaurus that has neural spines that curve backwards. These would have been like these would have supported a sail on the animal's neck and would have likely looked pretty interesting in life. I just talked about Bahatosaurus. What the fudge? Talk about and other recently described dinosaurs after you're done from the vacation. I can certainly try to, yes. It depends on how much work I have to get done. Brachytracholepan is my favorite Dicraeosaur. Me too. Me too. You have fantastic taste. Brachytracholepan is so fun. Yeah, and you're right. It's hilarious looking. The whole concept of a short-necked sauropod is just incredible. I just love it. You know, it's so cool. Can you talk about Dinochirus? Oh, well, I mean, what else could be said about Dinochirus? It's the largest ornithomimosaur to ever exist, which is already insane. The fact that it even belongs to the same clade as, like, you know, the Ornithomimidae is already just really, really fascinating. And the fact that it was just like this huge behemoth, like currently one of the largest Asian theropods that we know about, which is really, really cool. And they're weird too. They were weird dinosaurs with like huge arms, of course, and like a duckbill face. So cool. The largest mammal? The largest mammal would be the blue whale. In fact, the blue whale is the largest animal to ever exist that we know of. Yes, even larger than dinosaurs. The sauropod dinosaurs were not as large as the blue whale. And this is because, like, what we consider to be the largest is determined by overall mass. And even though there's, like, of course, sauropods that are taller and longer than the blue whale, they don't quite reach the same weight that the blue whale did. This is why the African elephant is considered the largest land animal, even though the giraffe is taller and, like, you know, snakes and crocodiles and things are longer. The new genus is Allosaurus jimetsoni. We've known about Allosaurus jimetsoni for a while. How bad would dinosaurs smell? Well, I'm sure that some of them would smell pretty bad. In my opinion, largest should be determined by volume. That's pretty flawed. Because again, if it was determined by like volume and things like that, you would get some pretty skewed answers that don't really make sense when you take into account. Because mass takes into account everything about the animal, you know. It doesn't just like look at something that you could just barely like look at from like very briefly. Because I certainly wouldn't look at a giraffe and an elephant standing right next to each other and think that the giraffe is larger simply because it's taller. You know, it's because like clearly the elephant is larger because it's just so much bulkier. This is also another reason why currently right now it's T-Rex is considered the largest. Could we call dinosaurs in a different name than a scientific name if they were alive? We probably would. Pokesaurus, how you doing? How bad did dinosaurs smell? Awful. Trust me, I'm his roommate. Bruhathkyosaurus. It's tough to talk about that one. That's a controversial genus. That's why I haven't spoke about it too much. Potentially one of the largest sauropods to ever exist, but only potentially. Most titanosaur sauropods, or just sauropods in general, are tricky anyway, because they're always like extremely fragmentary. Even the ones that are considered to be the largest currently, like Argentinosaurus, are fragmentary. So it's tough to say with absolute certainty that this was the largest dinosaur to ever exist. And the same certainly goes for Bruhathkyosaurus. That's why I haven't really spoke about it too much. And now I'm getting myself distracted. I'm never going to get this Lego set done. It's okay. It's okay. We will. We will. I say dinosaur size should be judged by my favorites. Spinosaurus is my favorite, so it's now bigger than Argentinosaurus. It's like, yeah, man, my favorite dinosaur is Yi-Chi, so clearly Yi-Chi is the biggest. The biggest dinosaur ever, ladies and gentlemen. Going off of somebody whose favorite dinosaur is Yi-Chi. Well, we're going to keep Yi-Chi right here. We're going to keep it right there. It's going to hang out with us for a little bit. It's going to be blocked by the T-Rex skeleton, but it'll be there in spirit. Yi-Chi is bigger than T-Rex. Yes, Yi-Chi is a true dragon because it is bigger than T-Rex and it has like dragon-like wings. It's like a wyvern, you know? What is my favorite ankylosaurid? Including Noah's... Gosh, I cannot speak right now. I am sorry. Including Nodosaurids. My three are Anodontosaurus, fantastic choice. Denversaurus, incredible choice. And Zool. Fantastic choices. My favorite is currently Denversaurus. I've been doing a lot of research on Denversaurus, and I've been like drawing it a lot, and I love it. It's an underrated nodosaurid. It's like the last nodosaurid that we know about, at the very least in North America. And it lived in Hell Creek. It's often like outshined by Ankylosaurus, who's obviously the more famous of the two. And there's like no figures of it. There's hardly any art of it. Denversaurus is like so underratedly cool. And for some reason it has quickly become one of my favorite dinosaurs, which I'm okay with, you know? It's cool for me that Dreadnoughtus is the largest sauropod that isn't fragmentary. It is still fragmentary. It's just the least fragmentary out of most other titanosaurs. What do you want? Huh? What are you doing? Jumping on the back of my chair. Huh? Say hello. Say hello to everybody. Don't climb on there. Everybody who's not familiar, this is Ahsoka. She's my cat. She's like an amazing cat, of course, named after Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels and the Ahsoka series. What's my Smilodon doing? She's just hanging out. She's just chilling, you know? She's just chilling. You were just watching the Ahsoka series? It's a good series, isn't it? I quite like it. I'm excited for season 2. Even though it was delayed a little bit. Opinion on the Goliath T-Rex. Oh, Goliath is tricky. Fragmentary. Femur. What is the dumbest paleo myth in your opinion? Wings on T-Rex. I don't know if you'd consider that a myth, because it's just, there's nothing to support it, like, at all. So I don't like it. I don't like hearing people bring it up. Look at this. Look at a T-Rex arm and compare it to an ostrich arm. They look identical. It's like, well, if you've actually looked at a T-Rex arm and an ostrich arm, you would figure out that they do not look identical. All you did was eyeball it. The dumbest myth is Nanotyrannus being a juvenile Tyrannosaurus. Yeah, I was on the opposite end of that. I was proven wrong. And I was happy to, honestly. Because it is so cool that an animal like Nanotyrannus existed. We all fell for that one. Yeah, the consensus was certainly that it was just a growth stage of Tyrannosaurus Rex. I was so confident too. So incredibly confident. But again, I'm incredibly glad to be wrong. And I'm never someone who gets attached to like old ideas of dinosaurs. Like people ask if I'm like upset about Muttaburrasaurus, like the fact that we now know it's you know, the nasal region is a little bit like set further forward and not necessarily attached to that bump on its nose. People ask if I'm upset about that. And I'm not, because we're just learning more about Muttaburrasaurus. Muttaburrasaurus still remains my favorite Australian dinosaur, despite the fact that we now know a little, like now that it looks completely different from how it used to look. I never really understand the whole idea of just getting way too attached to, like, you know, this is how I saw dinosaurs as a kid, you know? So this is how they looked. How do I put those on? Like this? How do I do this, Ahsoka? I need your help. She just keeps like rubbing on my back and pushing me. I just wish new Muttaburrasaurus art would make the bump look natural instead of Camptosaurus with a tumor. Well, who knows how it looked, honestly. It's one of those weird structures, in my opinion, that like who knows what kind of soft tissue was covering it. How do I put this on? Am I stupid? Don't answer that. Let's see. I put that on like this. My issue is that I just keep getting distracted. I keep talking, and I should be like getting some stuff done here. Because again, to reiterate, for those of you who aren't aware and you are like avid watchers of the stream, we won't be going live next week because I will be in California. I'll be out of town doing paleo-related stuff, visiting La Brea and other really cool things. It's gonna be a lot of fun videos to come from that. R.I.P. Dualisaurus, it died so young. Yes, that's one of those situations where it's like it's exciting that you have like such a nicely preserved fossil, but then you stop and think about it, and it's like, oh shoot, this is a baby. That's unfortunate. Okay, let's see, like this, right? That's the right side, and then put it like this. Okay. We're still on the first bag for the day. This is insane. We're getting there though. We will get there. Okay. Have you read the other Primitive War books? I have not yet, unfortunately. Which is weird because I'm friends with the author. Otter? I'm friends with the author. I wish I was friends with an otter. I'm not. Wish I was. But I'll get to it eventually, you know. Okay. That little section's done. We'll do this right here. Kanadi! Oh, shoot, Kanadi, thank you so much for the donation, dude. Here's some snack money for your trip, homie. Oh, thanks, dude. I'll definitely be using that. We're gonna make the obligatory you know, gas station stop before we hit the road tomorrow. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much, man. I that's very much appreciated. some snacks for the road. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Which Spinosaurus is your favorite, Egypticus or Mirabilis? Oh, they're both awesome. I can't choose a favorite. That's like trying to choose a favorite child. I just like the genus of Spinosaurus. But Mirabilis is really cool. Or Mirabilis, however you want to pronounce it. It's got a huge crest. That's cool. The crest is almost like 2 feet in length. And the individual was, you know, like a subadult. So it still had some growing to do. It's a cool dinosaur. Of course, we don't really know how large Egypticus, like the crest of Egypticus would be, considering the fact that we only have like fragmentary pieces of it. So maybe Egypticus had a taller crest too. We just don't know. We just don't know yet. Classic Spinosaurs being incredibly fragmentary, am I right? Oh, and I keep getting. I'm never, like I said, I'm never gonna finish this Lego set. What is the smallest sauropod? That would probably be Magyarosaurus. If it's not the smallest, it's certainly a contender for the smallest. It's a sauropod that underwent something that's known as insular dwarfism, which is a phenomenon that occurs when animals or organisms are isolated to an island, and so over the course of several generations they become smaller and smaller and smaller to adapt to the limited resources that an island provides. And so Magyarosaurus was a titanosaur sauropod, but it was like extremely small, still pretty big by our standards, but still pretty pretty darn small. Roughly I want to say about like 10 feet in height. And I want to say like weighing around 1 to 2 tons, maybe. Again, pretty small for by sauropod standards, especially titanosaur sauropods. Magyarosaurus would make a great pet. Oh yeah. What are you doing, by the way? Why are you just? do I just get no space back here? All right. Ahsoka's taking up most of my space. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go on the chair or on the table? Here. Opinion on Ostafricosaurus, or Freakosaurus is how it's pronounced. Well, it's a tough genus to talk about, my friend, because it's only known from a tooth. And if you know me, I despise dinosaurs that are only known from a tooth, because we can't really learn a lot about it. We can't confirm many things about it. Like, take, for example, it could be a Spinosaur tooth, which would be big. That would be a huge thing because it existed in the Jurassic. And we know that Spinosaurids originated from the Jurassic. That's not surprising because evolutionary models tell us that, Spinosauridae originated in the Jurassic. We just don't have any good fossils to confirm that. Teeth are not ideal because, first of all, Spinosaur teeth are already very similar to crocodilian teeth. And so sometimes it's difficult to differentiate whether or not it belongs to a Spinosaur or to a crocodilian or crocodiliform. And also, it could just be another type of theropod that existed there because it seems like it might potentially be on its way to being a Spinosaur tooth, which would imply that yes, it's potentially a dinosaur that was like, like it maybe a little bit of a middle ground for Megalosauroidea and Spinosauridae in the fact that their traits were becoming more and more like the Spinosaurids that we're more familiar with in the Cretaceous period. But it's just hard to say because it could be on the way to that, or it could just be another type of theropod. So teeth they're not really ideal when trying to identify a whole genus. And so Ostafricosaurus is very, very difficult to talk about because of that. It could be a Jurassic Spinosaurid, which is, always something that's welcome, but it also could not be. That's why it's on the Wikipedia page. It says a potentially dubious genus. Your favorite theropods are Ceratosaurus and Suchomimus. Fantastic choices. I love both of those theropods. You hate flat earth propaganda? Yeah, me too. Ahsoka the goat. Heck yeah. My cat's name is Ahsoka. Yeah, she is named after Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars. Do you think that Borealopelta glowed under UV? I think a lot of dinosaurs did. I would not be surprised if Borealopelta did as well. Dinosaurs in general are able to see extremely well. At least modern day dinosaurs are able to see extremely well. So much so that they can see into see things that only we can see under UV light. So it's very much likely that a lot of dinosaurs were colored in such a way that only other dinosaurs can see that coloration. Wild World, how's it going, dude? Thank you so much for the donation, man. Got Princeton's Field Guide to Dinosaurs today. Thanks for the recommendation. No problem, man. It's a pretty good book. It's a pretty good reference book that has a lot of dinosaurs. Though it doesn't have Denversaurus, I found out the other day when I was doing Denversaurus research. That was unfortunate. There's not a lot of books that do have Denversaurus. I was really bummed out. I mean, this one does. I almost just fell out of my chair. You guys almost saw a disaster. But this book does. The Saurian, the Saurian book, the Field Guide to Hell Creek. This has a Denversaurus in it. Has a cool looking Denversaurus at that. Here I am getting distracted again. We're still on the first bag, mind you. We are not making good headway. Where is it? It should be in this section, right? Yeah, right before. There it is. Look at that. Isn't that like the coolest Denversaurus you have ever seen in your entire life? As much as I hate Saurian, the book is actually pretty good. I love the book, dude. It is actually a very decent field guide to Hell Creek. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But yeah, no. I love Denversaurus. There needs to be more Denversaurus out there. What is my favorite herbivore? Denversaurus. Well, actually, yeah, maybe Denversaurus is my favorite herbivore, but Pachyrhinosaurus is probably, it's Denversaurus and Pachyrhinosaurus. I'll say both of those. They're very cool dinosaurs. Utah Raptor Cyclops versus Velociraptor Blue. My money's on Cyclops. You probably heard me rant about Saurian at the museum once. What, the game? I don't think I have. I know that there was a lot of problems with the development of the game, unfortunately. Because that was a game that had a lot of promise. I like the idea of simulating the Hell Creek formation. I think that's a great concept for a game, especially in a world where there's so many dinosaur survival games, where all of them, they just, they mix together different time periods to create this huge, non-canon thing. Non-canon. The Hell Creek formation, like just focusing a whole game, like surrounding it around a single formation was a good idea. Like Ecos La Brea. Yeah, exactly. Or Ecos La Brea. I like Ecos La Brea. That's a fun game, honestly. Like, I don't play many Roblox games, but I've always had a lot of fun on that game. It's always been really fun. Okay, and then put that there. I will get through this first bag. Don't worry, everybody. Okay. Yeah, and then I guess after we're done with this T-Rex, we'll probably get the Triceratops. How much was that Lego? This full-size not full-sized, wow. This T-Rex Lego T-Rex is $250. Which I have been told is cheap given the price, the piece count, but obviously I don't need to tell you, it's on the pricey side. Why does the crest on S. mirabilis remind me of those of Saurolophus? Well, they do have a fairly similar shape, that's for sure. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna go straight. I'm gonna speed run through this. We're gonna get through this. Predator X. I believe that's Pliosaurus. Predator X was. Oh, there it is. How is Eotriceratops different from Triceratops? Fantastic question. I don't have an answer for you because I have not read too much about Eotriceratops. I know it's mainly known from a skull, and I think the skull is larger, and I think there's probably a few synapomorphies that differentiate the two, but I'm not sure what they are, unfortunately. I think I did a little bit of research on Eotriceratops years ago, like back when I first started doing dinosaur content, and I cannot remember anything that I learned about the animal. So I'm not too certain what the differences are between the two animals. I think that Eotriceratops likely lived a little bit, like, I think it lived earlier than Triceratops, but even that I'm not sure about. Do you have evidence of Tyrannosaurus Rex and Torosaurus fights? I'm actually not familiar or too sure. I mean, they likely occurred, but I'm not too sure what pieces of evidence exist out there. Do you ever dream about dinosaurs? I once dreamt that a pack of Dilophosaurs was attacking my town. I have before in the past. Some of your classic Jurassic Park inspired dreams as a child. I could not give you many details, though. How did Stegosaurus, Ankylosaurus, and Spinosaurus mate, if that question is allowed? Spinosaurus likely mated like, what is it, geckos do today, where they kind of just stand on one leg. Stegosaurus and Ankylosaurus, it's very much possible that like Ankylosaurs would just kind of like back up into each other. Possibly the same for Stegosaurs. This is probably not the best question to be discussing, but there's also the whole possibility that one of the parties of Stegosaurus would lie down as well on their side. It's difficult to say, but there are ways that it happened. Whoops, that was wrong. Did that one wrong. What's my favorite ice cream? Chocolate. Chocolate ice cream. Whoa, what? Why'd that happen? Did I do something wrong here? It's strong possibility. My favorite herbivore? Denversaurus and Pachyrhinosaurus. Huh? I don't understand. What's wrong with this? Why is it not going in there correctly? It's gotta be like this, right? What? 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 That's really weird. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? Wouldn't be a Lego stream if I didn't have one problem. I think I found the solution though. There we go. What's my favorite avian dinosaur? I really like quail. Quail, they're really cool little birds. There's a lot of them around where I live, and they're so fun to watch. The way they just kind of like run around like that. It's cute. It's adorable. You gotta love it. Who else here likes Dino Guys Minecraft series? Oh, thank you. Let's see here. Like so. Do this. Like so. Hi Dino Guy, love from Portugal. Hello. And here's a question. I'm making a 1-to-1 scale Velociraptor, and I wanted to know if Velociraptor have slit pupils? It might have. Velociraptor was a low to the ground, likely ambush predator, which means that it would be beneficial for it to have pupils or slit pupils. It would be beneficial for it to have pupils, but slit pupils that's a fair assumption, honestly. It's also fair if you gave them rounded pupils. Rounded pupils are like like a good default assumption, but slit pupils on Velociraptor, that's not a unwarranted assumption given its potential lifestyle. What dinosaur would you eat if they're still around? I don't know. Probably none of them. Eating dinosaurs sounds like a very sad concept, even though we do it all the time today. It's just something about, like, the idea of eating animals that are already extinct that just doesn't sit right with me. We're almost through the 11th bag. We're getting there. What's my opinion on speculative evolution? It's really cool. I suck at it, but it's really cool. I love when people do spec evo. It's always very fun to dive into the reason they gave animals specific traits and things like that. The King Tyrant book by Mark Whitten actually does some spec evo towards the end. Like, it kind of speculatively depicts what T-Rex might have looked like if it didn't get wiped out by the asteroid at the end of the extinction. And it kind of it portrays it in a few different environments with a few different adaptations that allow it to survive in those environments, and it's a lot of fun. Obviously, alien, like some alien books are really cool over Spec Evo, All Tomorrows, that's very fun. There's a lot of cool stuff. Bio student from India, hello, welcome. Any more updates on Halong Dongai, the spiky hadrosaur, the ornithopod and guanodontian? Not as of yet. It was just recently published. It takes a while to create papers on new things, so I'm sure that if there's anything to learn, it won't happen for a bit. What's my opinion on Spinoceratops and Spinoraptor? Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. I'm not too crazy about the hybrids. Spinoraptor's probably one of my favorite hybrids, though, out of the whole of the Jurassic franchise. What? Oh, I'm building a... Oh, that's right, I was building a new piece. I forgot. Got so caught up with speaking that I forgot. I wish they had gone full Ultimasaurus in the Jurassic World movies. That would have been interesting. If you had to choose Kaimane, oh Kaimane, my character. Kaimane's favorite food, what would it be? Kaimane would probably strawberries. We'll say strawberries. He likes strawberries. He can't stand apples, but he loves strawberries. If you could choose to add dinosaurs to one movie that doesn't have dinosaurs in it, which movie would you choose, and what dinosaurs would you add? That's an interesting question. Let me think about that for like a few seconds. What movie would benefit by having dinosaurs in it? I don't know. I'm gonna have to come back with that one. I'm actually not too sure. I've never thought of that before. That is a really interesting question. The MCU. Oh yeah. There's probably a lot of MCU movies that could stand to have dinosaurs in them. That'd be kind of cool, actually. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Which movie though? Because there's the Savage Land, of course, that has dinosaurs in it. What movie could they go to the Savage Land? There was make Loki a Loki Ceratops. We just need a whole MCU movie where all the characters are just dinosaurs. Wolverine would be Therizinosaurus, obviously. In my mind, I would always picture like Captain America as a Dimetrodon or something. Yeah, an X-Men movie would be great for the Savage Land, that's for sure. But like, which MCU movies currently exist that could I mean, the recent Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, there was like a quick shot of a Triceratops and a T-Rex fighting each other, so that kind of counts, you know. I think that was probably the Savage Land or something. When you gonna make your Devil Dinosaur video? Need a partner in crime? Absolutely, dude. And I plan on working on it when I get back from California, so it'll be sometime after the 23rd of this month. Not too sure when, because I don't know exactly when we're getting back into town. So I'll probably let you know. I gotta finish this too. I keep distracting myself. I'm almost done with what I assume is a leg bone, or leg bones. There's quite a few bones here. It's not just like a femur or something. Let's see. And then this goes where? Goes there. Oh, it goes on top. Okay, let's see. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Right? I did that wrong. What a nerd. What a nerd I am. Like this. Okay. Imagine in the future MCU movie when Loki just has a pet Loki Ceratops. You know what, man? Loki Ceratops would have been like, I mean, it would have been perfect for the Loki series, but Loki Ceratops wasn't even published. Like, it wasn't even officially described when that series came out. But imagine that. Instead of like, oh, that would have been cool. That would have been really cool. I mean, we got Alligator Loki, which was already really cool. But imagine if Loki Ceratops was found like a few years before the Loki series, and they just had a Loki Ceratops. He was like, yeah, this is a Loki variant, you know. He's from like some type of dinosaur world. Again, I love Alligator Loki, but Loki Ceratops writes itself. You know, it all writes itself. Ah, dang it, they need to do that now. I don't know if they're going to keep doing the multiverse stuff, but they just need to do that. I mean, I know that Doomsday is going to be multiverse centered, as well as Secret Wars. So I'm just saying, Marvel. If there's anyone who works on Marvel, Loki Ceratops. That's all I'm going to say. Literally prints money. What have I missed? That right there, right? Like this. Okay. Like that. Okay. Yeah, see, it looks like, if I were to guess, looks like we'd probably have like the femur right here. Wild World, thank you so much, man. Your D&D campaign is a lot of fun. Lakota has some top tier storytelling chops. Yeah, it's been a lot of laughs, that's for sure. Okay. We're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost done with this bag at the very least. Can humans domesticate dinosaurs? Humans have domesticated quite a few dinosaurs. One of the most famous examples being chickens. Chickens have been successfully domesticated, but I know what you're referring to as non-avian dinosaurs. As far as that goes, it's tough to say. You know, we don't have any left. What did I just do? I broke something, but I don't even know how to broke it, and therefore I don't know how to fix it. Like this? Yes, like this. Okay, don't worry. Crisis averted. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool to domesticate dinosaurs, but difficult. It'd be difficult to know if we could or not, given the fact that they're all a little busy being dead. All right. And then this goes on this side. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. What do I think about Transformers? Well, I'm not too knowledgeable about Transformers, but I'm going to be making a video sometime in the future with Pokesaurus, if he's still here. And we'll be talking all about Transformers, namely like the Dinobots. So I'm going to be learning quite a bit about them. It's going to be a lot of fun. 10 out of 10 singing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You flatter me. Very much appreciated. Okay. I'm almost done. I'm almost done with his leg. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Who knew? What's the best dinosaur I have? I really like my Mesozoic life Spinosaurus. It's certainly up there. Like, I think that's one of my favorite pieces in my collection. Yes, we're officially done with bag 11. So it looks like, yeah, of course, like I said, it does look like we have a leg here, and I assume what we built up here is like the femur. Of course, you got some of the like lower leg bones down here. I assume that's how we're doing this, right? Unless it's the oh wait, no, it might be the opposite direction. It's hard to tell by it's probably the opposite direction. Yeah, because it looks like that's going to build into the metatarsals, which then of course connect to the toes. So I think we'll probably be looking at it like this as opposed to what I... Oh, yeah, no, I see. I think. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'll just grab bag 12. How long have we been streaming? Oh, we've already been streaming for an hour. It took me an hour to finish that bag. Oh, boy. We'll at the very least get through bag 12. And then, you know, we'll what does bag 12 work on? More leg. It's my favorite Jurassic Park movie. That would be Jurassic Park. It is genuinely such a good movie. What's my favorite Family Guy cutaway? I don't know. I don't watch Family Guy, so I'm not really familiar with any of them. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick speed run and try to get through a few steps before I answer the next comment. Oh, there it is. Okay. Do 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 do. Okay. Do I know anything about Sigilmassasaurus? No, and I don't think anyone does. The book called Spinosaur Tales talks briefly about it. It's a controversial genus of unknown placement. You know, it might even be synonymous with Spinosaurus, which that'd be an interesting turn of events. Opinion on Dadanlong. I'm not too familiar with Dadanlong, unfortunately. Oh, you're back? You're done with abandoning me? Oh, now you're gonna go on the desk? Is that what you're doing? Have I watched Invincible? No, unfortunately not. Everybody says it's good, but I've never gone to it. What kind of kitty is Ahsoka? She's a blue calico. She's the best one, is what she is. Oh no! You got my Legos everywhere. Like 2 of them, anyway. What type of pickup lines would his Spinosaurus use? That's an interesting question. Probably something about like going fishing or something. Yes, hi. Yes, I'm aware. You're getting these Legos all over the place, girl. Blue versus Cyclops. That'd be very cool. That'd be very, very cool. That'd be a very interesting fight. What Giganotosaurus figures would you recommend? I would certainly recommend the Good Giganotosaurus. I can actually show it to you so you can get get a good feel for it, I guess. Like, check this out. Look at that. Ah, oh, it's so cool. I love how beefy it is too. Like that is just it's such a cool figure that I highly man, things are in the way. I highly recommend checking this one out. Like this is the one I recommend. This is the Good Giganotosaurus. So that's my recommendation right there. Okay. I know that she dropped a few Lego pieces. We might be good. Absolute Giga Chat, yeah. What do you think is the most accurate primitive war design? The Utah Raptor is definitely up there, and the Spinosaurus is up there too. Oh, and the Amargasaurus. The Amargasaurus is also quite a standout. Is Ceratosaurus the only theropod with osteoderms? Probably not. But I can't. Per my knowledge, I'm not familiar with any other ones. I know it's one of the only theropods with osteoderms, which that in and of itself is already very cool. Have you heard of Montana Spinus? No, I haven't, but that's an interesting name. It would be cool for you to narrate a paleo documentary one day. Yeah, maybe. I just need to get a little bit more confident in reading and speaking, because I'm currently not good at that. But that would be awesome. Okay. Like I said a little bit ago, we have to at the very least get through 2 bags, and then I won't be an utter failure. It'd be kind of cool to get the at least one leg attached to this, which is where I assume we're getting to from here. We're all synapses. It's very true, very, very true. Didn't Carnotaurus have osteoderms? No, it did not. But that's a common misconception because it was once thought to have osteoderms. It had like these huge, bulky scales called feature scales, and those were once interpreted as osteoderms. But then, like more recent analysis, like only a few years ago, determined that they were again feature scales. Ceratopsians have the same thing. Like at the very least, Triceratops has the same thing. So no, Carnotaurus did not have osteoderms. They just had like large scales pebbled around their body. Very similar to Triceratops, and other Abelisaurids were probably the same way. How big can a bug get before it can't fly anymore? I don't know. Probably pretty big. There were some pretty large bugs that were capable of flying. Meganeura comes to mind. So they would have to be fairly large in order for it to not fly anymore. Oh, I missed that. Whoops. Putting the cart before the horse is what I'm doing. I need to slow down a little bit. About Mothra size. Might be a little bit on the larger side. Okay. Then I could do this. Like so. Come on. There we go. I want to recommend the book Elephants and Their Fossil Relatives, A 60 Million Year Journey. I actually have that. I've flipped through it a bit, and it's very good so far. I love elephants, man. Elephants are, and their their relatives, very cool animals. Proboscideans in general are just really fascinating. Elephants are goated. Yes. Absolutely agreed. I'm gonna go to the San Diego Zoo too. Next week sometime. Not sure when. See some elephants there. What time in the Mesozoic would you be most excited to live in, and which would be the which would you be the least excited to live in? I don't know about least, but the most excited would certainly be sometime in the late Cretaceous. Um, Maybe even in the Maastrichtian. I mean, a lot of things would certainly be familiar, but there was also a lot of very cool animals that lived at that time. Least favorite, maybe towards the early Cretaceous. Not sure where though. Maybe even towards like the early. I don't know. It's tough to say. I did that wrong. Whoops. Triassic and Jurassic periods were rough. Yeah. Can an African elephant beat a Tyranotitan? I don't know. Maybe. Have I ever played Team Fortress 2? No. I have not. I missed out on that whole Team Fortress fun time shenanigans. What is your opinion on dinosaur representation in media? Would you rather it try to be as scientifically accurate as possible, or are you fine with stuff like Jurassic World? My thought process on that is that obviously accuracy is not essential. There's a lot of dinosaur projects out there that I really like that are not accurate, but it's always appreciated. It's always appreciated when they like put some emphasis on accuracy, or when they use accuracy as like the foundation and then they just build off of that. Like, you know, you don't have to be accurate, but kind of like just hobbling or just like shoving a bunch of things together to make a very weird looking dinosaur. I'm not too much of a fan of that, which is kind of what they did in 65. It's like, you know, looks nothing like a T-Rex. It just looks like this kind of, you know, it looks like a creature that you wanted to make look as scary as possible. And in a way that kind of detracts from the overall design, in my opinion. Um, I kind of wish that more studios or more like things would put some emphasis on accuracy, because that is something that um, Jurassic Park initially did. A lot of people they think that Jurassic Park was never meant to be accurate, but that's not really the most true statement in the world. There was a push for accuracy. All you have to do is look at some of the behind the scenes information, and you'll see that they wanted to put an emphasis on the fact that these are meant to be dinosaurs, and they wanted you to see dinosaurs. That's why they had paleontology consultants, and that's why they did their research when they were putting these things together, because they wanted to showcase actual dinosaurs. A lot of people don't realize that it was that whole like, oh yeah, the animals are different because of their changed DNA is a result of Jurassic World. Jurassic World placed that line into their movie. You know, they had Henry Wu say that, you know, nothing in Jurassic World is natural, because they wanted an excuse to, well, I don't really want to speak for them, but it kind of gives them an excuse to design the animals however they see fit, because then it fits the lore, even though that wasn't the initial intention. And the dinosaurs that showed up in the original Jurassic Park trilogy were actually accurate for the time. So, I think it's like a lame excuse. And it doesn't even hold up anymore because the prologue exists. And the prologue showed us that the dinosaurs of the past in this universe actually just look like the cloned animals, which are inaccurate. So, I don't know. Like I said, accuracy is not a necessity. I just appreciate when it's something that is prioritized or at least attempted, or at the very least it's acknowledged. But obviously, the folks who work on these things, they're artists, and they put their own taste or their own insight into these things, and they are completely allowed to do that. I just, because I don't know. When it comes to the Jurassic, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a ramble here, but a lot of people get upset with me whenever I talk about the Jurassic franchise inaccuracy, saying things like, "Oh, it's not a documentary. It was, these are meant to be like entertainment movies." And it's like, well, yeah, that is true, but again, the original Jurassic Park was made with accuracy in mind. It was mainly the Jurassic World trilogy that kind of like deviated from that whole idea. Plus, whether you or me, we completely understand that these movies are not accurate and they shouldn't be taken seriously. But to the average person who's watching these movies, they are actually getting their information from the films. And I can confirm that because I do run tours at the Morrison Museum, and I've gotten a lot of questions that are like asking to confirm a specific detail from Jurassic Park. Like a lot of times people have asked me if T-Rex would be able to actually see you if you stand still. And the reason why they're confused about that is because they learned about it in a movie. So yes, like people who like paleontology and understand it, we won't get confused about the misinformation in Jurassic Park. But the average viewer is likely going to get confused about it. So it's completely fair to talk about the inaccuracies and, kind of like point out that some of them are certainly not correct. That's probably the end of my ramble. If Godzilla was real, what dinosaur would it be? Godzilla, I think, initially was inspired by a few different dinosaurs, including Iguanodon, T-Rex, and Stegosaurus. And you can certainly see some of that design influence, or some of that influence in the design. What theropod is a good T-Rex replacement? T-Rex replacement, huh? It would be a larger theropod, that's for sure. Probably like Giganotosaurus or something, assuming we found Giganotosaurus before we did T-Rex. Is there any evidence of fur on Pachyrhinosaurus? No. No, there's no evidence of fur on any dinosaur at all. It's very unlikely that any of them would have had it. What's my opinion on Jurassic Park 3? Oh, I like it. It was always my favorite as a child. I think it gets a bad rep. It's not a great movie. I acknowledge that. There's a lot of pacing and writing issues, but I like it. It's fun. The designs are really cool. Opinion on Titan. Oh, that's a sauropod that was decently small, actually. It's a cool sauropod. I don't know if I can really say much about it. Okay, we're almost done with bag 12. Same when I was young. When I was very young, I liked it the most. Yeah, me too. Yeah, we are twins. No, it's not. 25 meters is not tiny. For sauropod standards, some sauropods are certainly relatively small. The arms will be much easier to build. Yeah, it looks like it's just a few pieces, really, in the arms. What do I do with my phone? What did I do with it? That's interesting. There it is. In 1 second, I gotta check something real quick. Do I ever stop yapping? Do you? I see your comments a lot. Huh. Plot twist, the Tarbosaurus is a slightly younger Jucheng Tyrannus. that would certainly be interesting. Okay, and that one needs to go. There we go. Right here, correct? No. Like this. Is there a Spinosaurus Lego set? There was a Rebirth one. I do have that one. It's kind of lame, if you ask me. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I never even finished it. There's also a Jurassic Park 3 Lego set where you actually build the Lego Spinosaurus, which it looks okay. I don't know. I'll probably get it because Spinosaurus is like my whole thing, but I'm not too sure yet. Jurassic World Rebirth was peak. It has a lot of fun moments. I'll certainly give it that. Was Torvosaurus bigger than Allosaurus? In Portugal, it certainly was. In North America, I think that Anax is larger than Torvosaurus tanneri, which is the... There's two different species of Torvosaurus, if you're not familiar. Guernii, which lived in Europe, and tanneri that lived in North America. It seems like Allosaurus was larger than tanneri in North America, but Torvosaurus guernii was larger than Allosaurus, potentially Europaeus in Europe. But Europaeus might simply just be fragilis, so who knows? Would Ceratosaurus hunt humans? Yeah, probably from time to time if it was ever hungry enough or that situation ever arose. Is T. Gurney named after James Gurney, the creator of Dinotopia? Yes, it is. Good catch. It absolutely is named after the man himself. Well, that's weird. Why don't you just whatever? I don't design Legos. Who am I to judge? And I'm just talking to myself. Apologies. Okay. Put that one right there. Good. Very good. What are your thoughts on contradictory design in dinosaur representation? Like how Jurassic Park 3 Pteranodon had teeth when its name literally means without teeth. I think it's kind of funny. It's always funny to tell people that the Jurassic Park 3 Pteranodon makes 0 sense because of its name. I don't really get too upset about it, really. I just think it's kind of funny, and it's always like a fun thing to point out. You should watch the Dinotopia miniseries. It's just 3 episodes and it's great. I've thought about it. I know that it's free on YouTube, so I'll likely check it out at some point. Oh, I guarantee I missed something. What did I miss? What did I miss? Oh, yeah, I bet you it goes right there. Has to go right there. Yeah. There we go. How do you name a dinosaur? That depends. A lot of times dinosaurs get their names through like the wide array of different methods. A lot of times it's based off of like the location. Sometimes it's based off of certain traits that the dinosaur has, and so it's named after that. Sometimes it's named after someone who's like pretty important and well respected in the field, or any field that kind of pertains to that dinosaur. It all depends. There's like no one way to do it. Sometimes it's named after nerd things. Some like things that the paleontologist likes, like Thanos. The abelosaurid that has the name of Thanos. It was genuinely named after the Marvel character. Did dinosaurs have emotion? If so, to what degree? Likely, probably a little bit more similar to how birds interact with each other nowadays. I wouldn't really expect too much deviation from that. Would I name something something Star Wars related? Maybe if I felt like whatever that specific thing, like if a Star Wars name would make sense for it. You know, a lot of people ask me what I would name a dinosaur if I ever found it, and there's no way I can have an answer for that, because again, there's just, it's like, you know, a hypothetical dinosaur. It's like, who knows what kind of dinosaur it would be. I don't know what kind of traits it has, so I really wouldn't have any way of knowing what route I would like to take. What's my favorite Star Wars movie slash show? Return of the Jedi is likely my favorite movie. It's a classic. I really like the ending. Vader saves his son, makes the decision to save his son. It's perfect. I love it. Okay. Oh, there it is. Cool. It's about to go on to a missing piece alert. We are almost finished with bag 12. Once I'm finished with bag 12, I'll likely just sit here and we'll just chat for a little bit. Okay, so what needs to be, sorry, Giganotosaurus, right here. Goes into the acetabulum. Like that. Okay. And then you will probably want me to slide it in there. Like so. Okay. Cool. And then what they need me to do is grab this. Grab this. Slide this in here. Cool. And that's like this. Yeah, that is a solid foundation if I've ever seen one. And then little decorations to make it look like it's walking through some plant life. How fun. Where's the little plant? Guaranteed the cat dropped it. Aha! Yep, I'm sure she did. Okay. Place that right there, and then this right here. Should be about done, methinks. And then I think it wants to put on like the first toe as well. Okay. Sorry for I'm not ignoring anybody. I just I'm gonna try to get this done, and then I'll completely focus on answering comments. Okay, like that, and then yeah, that's exactly what it wants me to do. Like this. So I need to spin it. There we go. Okay, what am I missing? Why does it feel like I have a few extra pieces that I should not have? If someone named a dinosaur Xenops, would it be valid? Assuming there's not another genus that has that name. And then probably. Could a Jurassic Park 3 Pteranodon be Ludodactylus because it has teeth? Maybe. It is called Pteranodon, though, officially, so I assume not. That's okay. Did I miss anything around here? Had to have. Had to have. These are definitely not just spare pieces. Oh, there's some. Okay, so that one goes right. Yeah, okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Put that right there. And then I think we're good after that. We're probably all right. Okay. That is officially bag 12 for the books. So this is our progress that we have so far. First leg is attached to the rest of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So it's looking pretty cool. You know, honestly, it's really, really cool to see the amount of detail that they placed into this. So yeah, we got the femur up here, attaching into the acetabulum over here. And then, of course, it goes down into the ankles. And then right over here, these would technically be the metatarsals. And then the toes will just attach right here. Because dinosaurs, as we know, are digigrades, which means that they walk on their toes. Okay, now we shall discuss things. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing all right? You guys having a good time on the stream? Certainly hope so. I really feel like I missed a few pieces though, because I have like a suspicious amount of like pieces that are just I feel like they're not meant to be spares. Guess we'll find out later. We will find out later. Everybody doing good? Doing awesome? Good. Good to hear. Good to hear, everybody. If dinosaurs existed today, what would be the biggest practical limitation to humans coexisting with them? That's assuming we set aside the physical limitations like the atmosphere and stuff. A big problem would be the fact that a lot of dinosaurs were absolutely huge. And a lot of our environments that we have today are just not really sustainable for dinosaurs of that magnitude. Especially with the way that humans handle environments. Like we take up a lot of space and we take a lot of resources that dinosaurs would already use. You'd have like a lot of, like we already have issues with say elephants today, and elephants encroaching on like, you know, properties and like, you know, all of these places that humans do not want them to encroach on. Now imagine that on a larger scale with some of the sauropod dinosaurs, or even something like some hadrosaurs. That would not go well at all. So ultimately, I think a lot of animals would be at threat of extinction, if not already extinct. That's because, again, like even like when you look at something like trying to reintroduce wolves into their native range. Recently, wolves were introduced to Colorado a couple of years ago. And even though wolves were here initially, there's a lot of problems that the locals have with that, because there's a lot of farmers here who are losing their cattle, or a lot of ranchers, rather. And so they already have an issue with that. Now, consider that with some dromaeosaurs or some larger theropods. I don't think things would go well with dinosaurs being, non-avian dinosaurs being here. Sauropods would be a big issue, yeah. Yeah, they absolutely would be. I forgot to add I meant non-avian dinosaurs. Yeah, I figured. What do you think of the Spinosaurus design from Todd Marshall, and how accurate would you say it is? Oh, Todd Marshall had a, oh, that's right, I don't have my keyboard over here. Todd Marshall had a really cool Spinosaurus. It's one that I grew up with, because it was in a few of my books that I had, but it was very jagged, like kind of spiky in a way, and it's not accurate to our modern understanding, but that's kind of to be expected. It's just a cool blast from the past. You know, I love pieces like that. What do you think of the Spinosaurus design? Oh, I already answered that. Whoopsies. My bad. What is my favorite non-dinosaur movie or show? Return of the Jedi. It's probably my favorite. And Avengers Endgame. I love Endgame, man. That movie was so good. I went there opening night. What is your favorite synapsid excluding humans? Elephants. I freaking love elephants, man. They're such cool animals. And giraffes. I love giraffes. What would you like to see more in dino media? Like we were talking about earlier, designs that very clearly used accuracy as a baseline and then just built off of that. I think that's something I would appreciate a little bit more than just trying to make something that looks as scary as possible and then failing, because then it just kind of looks silly, in my opinion. Have we discovered any rainforest dinosaurs? That'd be tough. Fossils easily erode in rainforest environments, so we haven't really found any substantial fossils in those environments. Talking about Avengers, they are about to add Devil Dinosaur to Marvel Rivals. Yes, they are. I plan on playing it when I get back from California. So, you know, we got, you know, a little bit over a week from now, I'll be making a video about that. Be my, probably like the first and only time I'll ever play Marvel Rivals on the channel. So it'll be a lot of fun. Why are carnivorous plants and big bugs so commonly associated with dinosaurs? Because that's just something that feels very otherworldly and alien, which is kind of how people view dinosaurs, given the fact that, you know, they lived millions of years ago. There's nothing that's quite like them today, at least most of their species. And so putting big bugs and these really carnivorous plants alongside them just makes sense for a lot of people. How do you know the 2010 Spinosaurus skeletons aren't accurate? Because we have more of the skeleton nowadays. Now it's a little bit controversial, of course, because, you know, some of the ways that like the scientists acquired some of these fossils are kind of questionable. But given what we know, they are pretty outdated to our current understanding. Also, the Minecraft Fossil Record add-on recently got updated. There's new Spinosaurids and sea creatures, as well as remodeled pterosaurs. Ooh, might have to check that out. How do you know the 2010 Spinosaurus? Okay, guys, with the spamming, I can see you popping up a few times. I answered that, man. Do you think there may have been any saber-toothed dinosaurs? Off the top of my head, I'm not familiar with any, of course. I'm sure that it could have happened. Evolution's a crazy thing. You know, it's very difficult to predict. Unless Marvel Rivals added Old Lace, which is a Deinonychus from Marvel. They should add, like, Reptile. Is that his name? He, like, changes into dinosaurs and things. That's who they should add. I'd play that. Like, you know, you wouldn't, like, it would be a cool mechanic where it's like each ability you turn into like a different dinosaur or extinct reptile. I think that'd be so fun. Like, you could turn into a pterosaur, maybe turn into a dromaeosaur of some kind. I think that would be fun. Does YouTube have slow chat? It's a little bit slow. I have it set to like the fastest possible setting, to where I can like see it as quick as possible, but it's probably still a little bit more delayed on your guys' end, unfortunately, which is a little bit annoying. Because then, you know, sometimes that leads to some folks like typing their question like multiple times, thinking that it got lost, and then it looks like they're spamming, and yeah, you know, it's a little bit unfortunate. I would love Reptile in the game. Been saying it ever since it came out. Yes, absolutely. It would be so cool. Reptile actually showed up in like that, what was it? Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or something like that. It's a little like preschool show with Spider-Man. My daughter's been liking Spider-Man a lot recently, so we've been watching that. And it had Reptile in it. So if they have it, Marvel Rivals should. What's my favorite hadrosaur? Edmontosaurus. I love those guys. They're so bulky. They're huge. They got really interesting ornamentation in the form of the fleshy comb and that crest on their back. And they had hooves. They actually had hooves. It's so cool. You can't go wrong with a classic Edmontosaurus. Have you heard of Appalachosaurus? I have heard about it. I just don't know much about it, unfortunately. A lot of those Appalachian Tyrannosaurs I'm not too familiar with. Hadrosaurs were not pushovers. Precisely. What is my opinion on Balord Bondoc? Oh man, that is such a cool little animal. When it was first found, I think it was believed to be a type of dromaeosaur that had like double sickle claws, you know, used for double the slashing action, and it was this really metal little dinosaur. And then later on, more analysis was done, and it seems like it's actually more like birds. In fact, it might actually be a bird, and rather like the double sickle claw thing was something that allowed it to perch, instead of, you know, using it for slashing. Your daughter has good taste. Spider-Man is the goat. Spider-Man is the goat. Quite like Spider-Man. I mean, I'm more of a Daredevil guy personally, but Spider-Man's awesome. Opinion on Shantungosaurus. We got 2 Shantungosaurus in a row by the looks of it. Shantungosaurus is awesome. Shantungosaurus is the largest non-sauropod dinosaur that we know of currently, which means that it's larger than heavy hitters like Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's an insane size. It's proof that hadrosaurs were not, you know, pushovers. Spider-Man, Invincible canonically met Spider-Man. Yeah, I know that the show had, what was his name? Agent Spider or something like that. Because they couldn't get the rights to Spider-Man. I think the creator just denied it or something. So they had to make Agent Spider. But he did meet him in the comics. I know that for a fact. If Xenops was a dinosaur, what genus would it be a part of? Since the name means strange face, so I have a few genuses. It could be a part of Dilophosauridae, Dromaeosauridae, Abelisauridae, and T-Rex. Strange face. I could see a Pachycephalosaur being called a strange face. I could even see a Ceratopsian. Ceratopsians always get like face in their name, because like that's the most notable thing about them is the fact that they have face. Loki Ceratops. Loki horned face. Triceratops. 3-horned face. Very original. Very original. Opinions on Wuherasaurus. So it's one of the latest surviving stegosaurs. Wuherasaurus is. It's a stegosaur that survived into the early Cretaceous period, but obviously the stegosaurs didn't last too long into the Cretaceous. It seemed that they lost their niche to. It seems that they lost their niche to ankylosaurs. Okay. Just checking things real quick. I always thought that Stegosaurus evolved into Ankylosaurus. I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, kind of, in a way. They branched off, but... you more of an Alien or Predator guy? Oh, man, I think I prefer the Predator movies over the Alien movies. Like, I really liked Predator Badlands. It's a good movie. I liked it. I like the whole idea of making the Predator into the main character. My favorite documentary, I gotta go with classics, that being Prehistoric Planet. But since we'll get that one out of the way, my favorite all-time documentary is Prehistoric Park. I love that documentary. I am a huge, Nigel Marvin was like a huge inspiration for me growing up, which is why it was so amazing that I got to interview him. It's so good. Predator Badlands was good for me as well. Great taste. Which real-life dromaeosaur species is closest to the JP Velociraptor? That would probably be something like a Kilobator or Utah Raptor. In terms of like the overall size, they would be closest. Nigel Marvin is goated? Absolutely, man. Like I said, he was like a huge inspiration for me growing up. Him and David Attenborough. Not to be confused with his brother, Richard Attenborough. Would I like to see a show based on General Grievous? Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Did Ouranosaurus live alongside Carcharodontosaurus and Spinosaurus like in the Planet Dinosaur series? They portrayed it a bit too late in the series. It did not live alongside, Spinosaurus. Rather, it went extinct like 15 million years before Spinosaurus ever showed up. So unfortunately, no. Ouranosaurus did not coexist with it. I love both, but the Predators I lean more towards. Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. The Alien franchise it's really good. It has a lot of huge highlights, and like I've had a lot of fun watching it. Alien Earth in particular, I really enjoyed that show. I thought that was a really fun show. I thought it was a really interesting way to do an alien story, you know. Opinion on Corythosaurus. Oh, well, how can you not love hadrosaurs with like really cool, huge ornamentation? And Corythosaurus is like one of the best examples of that. If you could have the superpower to choose one dinosaur to be able to transform into at will, what dinosaur would you choose? Oh, Spinosaurus. Easy. How many non-avian dinosaur genera are there? I don't know about specific genera, but species we have like maybe closer to 1,500. Alien fan, have you played Alien Isolation? Have you heard they're making a sequel? I have heard, and I played a little bit of Isolation, but I never got the chance to finish it. At some point, I'm sure I will. Bisected Dromaeosaur. That fella still needs a lot more research done on it before I could talk about that fella, because we just don't really know much about it. But potentially like a 2-pound dromaeosaur. 2-pound? A 2-ton a 2-pound dromaeosaur. It's really huge, guys. It's a big one. What are the chances of a scaly raptor? Phylogenetically speaking, not very high. Honestly, like phylogenetically speaking, I wouldn't be surprised if most dinosaurs had feathers. Even if it was mixed with scales. You should make a video showing off your books. I should. I would like to do an office tour at some point. Show you guys where all the things happen. Cassowary are basically just modern day terror birds. In a lot of ways, yeah. A lot of ways, very similar. Of course, they're not the closest relatives. That goes to the Ceramina. But anatomically speaking and behaviorally, they're very similar. Potentially. We don't really know the behaviors of terror birds, if I'm being honest. Alien Isolation is top 5 favorite horror games of all time for sure. Yeah, I played some of the like the game, like the game modes that they have where you have to just survive the alien. He's fun. Haven't you mentioned Alien Isolation in one of the Paleopods? I can't remember everything. We probably did. If the last time I recall, I think Lakota brought it up, mentioning that there's going to be a sequel. I think we've talked a lot about a lot of things on the Paleopod. Again, as far as Alien Isolation goes, I haven't played too much of it. My gaming variety isn't very, like, I don't have a lot of games that I played throughout my life. I'm kind of late to playing games anyway. Do you think the Corythosaurus is an underrated hadrosaur, since it's never been in documentaries or never seen in documentaries? Yeah, I think you can consider it that. I'm sure it could stand to have a few more depictions. It's weird that it hasn't shown up as frequently, though. It feels like it's one of the quintessential hadrosaurs. Like it showed up in a lot of books that I had when I was younger. So you would think that it would be a little bit more common in things like that, but I guess not. Am I still good to send the first chapter of the book you said I could? Oh yeah, sure. Go for it. Sounds about right. That's probably where I heard about the sequel, actually. Oh yeah, that's where I heard about it. I saw Saraima the other day. You live in Uruguay? Lucky. Those are cool birds. They have a toe claw that's raised off the ground, similar to dromaeosaurs and similar to terror birds, actually. I mean, kind of makes sense because they are the closest modern day relatives to forest rockids. Thoughts on the Clone Wars 2003? Oh, I love it. I still consider that Grievous canon, honestly. Like, I feel like headcanon is a huge part of any Star Wars fan's life. To me, my headcanon is that the 2003 Clone Wars is still canon to a certain degree. Like, all of the Grievous stuff is still canon. I'm fine with, like, the Ventress stuff and some of the other things that are portrayed in that series to be non-canon, because a lot of it does contradict with the 2008 Clone Wars. But the Grievous stuff, I make it make sense in my head, because that Grievous was just beautiful, man. He was amazing. General Grievous is my favorite character. On like Grievous's real name is Kaimane Jai Shalal. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons on the Paleopod. I named my character after Grievous, that being Kaimane. So I like Grievous. I have a replica of Grievous's head as well. Head canons are the most important canon. Yeah, I'm sure that most people have their own head canon. Like, there's some Star Wars Visions episodes that I consider canon because they were so good, and I just make them make sense in my mind, you know? You are a very good YouTuber. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Are there any movies with dinosaurs that you would think would be better without dinosaurs, or would at least still function as a movie without dinosaurs? No, dinosaurs are essential. If a dinosaur movie or if a movie has dinosaurs in it, it's automatically made better in my mind. 2008 in Revenge of the Sith, Grievous is kind of a coward. Yeah, that's how he was portrayed. George kind of changed his mind during production. The reason why that happened is because that's 65. Good point. Good point. 65. Not the best movie, you know. It's not the best movie. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the reason why Grievous turned out like that is because, you know, the 2003 Clone Wars was being, like, the final season was being made alongside Revenge of the Sith. And when they were designing Grievous, they basically just had these simple character notes and a basic design that George Lucas gave them, Genndy and his team. So they made it based off of that. Well, later on during production, as Revenge of the Sith got further and further into production, George kind of changed his mind on how he wanted to portray Grievous. Instead of being this huge feared Jedi hunter that is just like a huge force of nature, well, not necessarily a force of nature, but just this huge force, he changed it so that he was more so a coward that would run from a fight the minute it was starting to go south. And so, now that makes it so that, the version of Grievous in 2003 is very different from 2005's Grievous. That the cough even changed too. Later on in production, George decided that he wanted to give Grievous a cough because that would be something that reflects that the cybernetics are not as good on Grievous. So he has all of these like respiratory issues to show that the suit that they give Vader is a bit more improved because Vader's not coughing all the time. Well, Genndy and the team, they didn't give Grievous a cough, so at the last minute they had to include that scene where Mace Windu crushes Grievous's chest and then he just starts coughing right after that. So that's how they kind of rectified it. But yeah, there was a lot of disconnect in between the production of both of those projects. Could Dilophosaurus do color flashing like bursts to intimidate rifles? Oh yeah, probably. I mean, maybe. I don't want to say probably, but maybe they could. That falls under the speculation banner, but most behaviors that you see portrayed are speculative when it comes to dinosaurs. What do you think of the orcs from Warhammer 40k? Ooh, unfortunately, I don't play Warhammer. I think you'd like the snake bites and beast snagas. It sounds cool, but I've never seen it, unfortunately. I still agree that 2003 Grievous is canon up to the point and becomes 2005 Grievous. I still consider Grievous canon from 2003. Again, I make it work in my head. In my head, I'm just like, every time we see him in the Clone Wars and in Revenge of the Sith, he's just having a bad day. It's just, he's not doing so hot. Plus, he is going up against main characters who can't die anyway. So, it's just, he can't be 100% all the time. Plus, it makes it even worse that, like, any canon book and comic that has Grievous, he's still an absolute monster. So there's even a huge disconnect between like canon Grievous in the comics and books and canon Grievous in the movies and shows. He was even he was actually a monster in Tales of the Empire. I liked how he was portrayed there. Oh, I remember seeing Grievous in 2003 Clone Wars for the first time. His introduction episode was quite something. It was awesome. What is your most anticipated feature or dinosaur for a prehistoric kingdom? I would love to see some Paleozoic creatures in the game. More Paleozoic creatures. We do have a few now in the form of like Diploculus and Tiktaalik and all that. I would like to see like some, a little bit more terrestrial ones and some that can walk around. Tales of the Empire did great with Grievous. Oh yeah. I just love how it's like the fact that he took like her dying mother's word, that being run, and used it against her. That's Grievous right there. That's like prime Grievous. Have you played the JP Telltale game? No, but I watched Gaming Beaver play it years ago. Favorite modern reptile? That would be Varanus komodoensis, otherwise known as the beautiful Komodo dragon. Those guys are so cool. As a kid, I thought Saurophaganax and Allosaurus are just the same dinosaur. Well, kind of are, in a way. Now Saurophaganax is... the name's probably going to go to a sauropod, though. Is Torvosaurus the biggest predator of Morrison because Saurophaganax is a Saurophaganax bone? I think Allosaurus anax is potentially larger than Torvosaurus, but who's to say, really? We have a very limited data set, so it's difficult to say who is the largest given what we know. Why are Troodons always portrayed as venomous? Probably because of Jurassic Park and the way that they portrayed them, like the game. Obviously, there's no evidence that they had venom. I wish they used Torosaurus in media more often. I agree. I absolutely agree. My top 100 dinosaurs video. That would be quite a lengthy video. I do have a lot of favorite dinosaurs, though, to be fair. I'm surprised that Troodon is more popular than Megalosaurus. Isn't that wild that Megalosaurus doesn't have like a huge popularity? Because it's the first dinosaur that ever officially got recognized by science, getting its name all the way back in 1824. That's over 200 years ago. We've known about Megalosaurus. Torosaurus is cool in the OG Walking with Dinosaurs. Oh yeah, I love like the little eyes that it has on its frill. After Path of Titans is completed as a game and they start bringing in more dinosaurs as DLCs, which Mesozoic creature would you like to see added? Well, most of the creatures that I would like to see added are already kind of added through mods. So I don't know if I really have a wish list as far as that goes. Okay, it looks like we have crossed over the 2-hour mark, so I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here. So thank you everybody for stopping by and hanging out for the for this live stream. It was a real pleasure to speak with all of you. Again, here's like the progress that we have on this T-Rex. We've finished up the leg over here, or most of the leg anyway. I assume next time we'll be working on more of the leg. Now again, a little bit of a reminder, there will not be a live stream next week. I will be gone in California. So I will not have the time to do a live stream, unfortunately. So the week after that is when I'll be seeing you guys in on Thursday, as per usual. So again, thank you all so much for hopping on, checking it out, and all of that. And I hope you guys have an awesome day or night. And we'll see you later.